Hey, what's up guys? It's your boy Warren Plays MC here. Today we'll be using Minecraft as a tool to help us into the idea of scientific investigation. So let's get right into it. Before we start our experiment, we must know what an independent variable and a dependent variable is. As you can see on the side, an independent variable is the thing that we're going to change in our experiment. And an independent variable is the value that's going to be affected by the thing that is changed, which is the independent variable, and that's the data we want to collect. But make sure to keep in mind that for every experiment there can only be one independent variable and one dependent variable, or else we won't know what we'll be looking at. But you might ask, oh, how do you keep all these terms constant? Oh, as you can see, there's a thing called fixed variables, which means the terms that we're going to keep are constant for the experiment. As you can see, for this experiment, if I use an iron sword for one experiment or an iron axe for another experiment, the results won't be the same as they have different values. So this means that we must use the same value for every test we have in the experiment to keep the results fair and constant. Another fixed variable, as you can see here, are the armor that the zombies are wearing. As you can see, on the one on the right doesn't have any armor, but for the one on the left, the zombie is covered in iron armor. This means for the zombie that's covered in iron armor, it can take more hits than the one that doesn't have any armor. So this will make the experiment unfair. But to keep this experiment fair, we can either use the zombie with iron armor for both our experiments, or the zombie with no armor for both our experiments. But we can't take one of each for our experiments because that would be unfair and the results would be not accurate. Now, after we got the terms done, let's introduce you to today's experiment. Today we'll be testing whether zombies or piglins have a higher health. Before we get started in an experiment, we must know what the term hypothesis means. And remember, this is very important as you have to include this in all of your experiments. A hypothesis is an idea, an assumption that is proposed by you for the sake of argument so that it can be tested to see if it's true or not. For example, in this experiment, I think that the piglins are going to have more health than zombies. Although this might be wrong, it doesn't matter because I'm going to test it to find out if it's true or not. Now let's get into the tests. For this test, we're going to be using three variables: the gold sword, the diamond sword, and last but not least, the iron sword. All three swords have a different amount of damage, so with three different sets of data, we can test more accurately which mob has a higher health. Let's get into it. As you can see, here's the data we've collected. On the left hand side, which symbolizes how many hits a zombie can take, and on the right hand side, the gold blocks, which symbolizes how many hits a piglin can take. As you can see, for a diamond sword, both piglins and zombies can take 3 hits. For the gold sword, a zombie can take 5 hits, whilst the piglins can take 4 hits. And lastly, for the iron sword, a zombie can take 4 hits, while the piglin can take 3 hits. As you can see, here's the data we've collected. If we just took the test for the diamond sword, we won't know which mob has a higher health. But as we have also used the gold sword and the iron sword, we can now firmly know that the zombie has a much higher health than the piglins. As you can see, it can take 1 more hit for the gold sword and iron sword more than the piglins. So this is why it is important to take multiple tests so you can have more accurate results and can compare to other data. this is the end of the experiment. As you can see, although my hypothesis was wrong compared to our data, it doesn't actually matter because a hypothesis is just something that aids us in the experiment, something that we make up to know what we're testing. Although my hypothesis was wrong, we can now know that the actual data shows that zombies has a much higher health than piglins, which is a good thing for us because we have learned more. Remember to follow every step in this video, and I'm sure you'll be a great scientist like me in the future. Bye bye!